continues in the parliament over the contentious Citizenship Amendment Bill that was tabled in the Lok Sabha today. The opposition is up in arms, deeming the bill as unconstitutional and regressive and anti-Muslim. Just minutes earlier, AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi, after a fiery speech, tore the bill, tearing into the government with his speech and then tearing the bill inside the Lok Sabha. Home Minister Amit Shah is expected to give a response any time now to all of the issues that have been raised by various political parties through the day. He tabled the bill, introduced it with the key highlights, and now he will be responding any time now. Just for those who are still tuning in to what Citizenship Amendment Bill is, well, it's an amendment to the original act that came in about 1955. The amendments now say that immigrants of 6 different religions can be eligible for Indian citizenship. These religions are Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Christians, Parsis and Jains. People from these religions from 3 specific countries. That's what this bill really is about: Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. So immigrants or refugees of these 3 countries, of those 6 specific religions, not Muslims, can get Indian citizenship if they've been living here for 6 years. This is essentially what the new amendment is. Why is it controversial? There are 3 basic contentions and controversies that have emerged that also got debated in the parliament in depth tonight. First one is that the bill discriminates against Muslims. That Muslims from Bangladesh, from Pakistan or Afghanistan are not allowed, or any other country, so to say right now. But other 6 religions, those refugees can get citizenship in our country. Claim number 2 is that bill violates Article 14 of the Constitution. Article 14 actually speaks about equality in front of the law, equality for everybody, irrespective of their religion, caste or creed in our country. And that's what actually was quoted today by many, many politicians and MPs inside the parliament. Claim number 3 and the contention number 3 is that only 6 religious minorities can apply and not Muslims. Fact of the matter is, and I have a very simple question tonight: should there be a policy in our country, even if it is for citizenship, which is based on religion? Should religion be the basis for citizenship in our country? Let's say good evening to Gopal Agarwal, National Spokesperson for the BJP, Sangeet Kumar Ragi, political analyst, Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist, Javed Ansari, also a senior journalist, joining us this evening, Shikha Mukherjee, also a senior journalist, with me right now as we watch out for Amit Shah's response to this contentious bill. Let me start with Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Mr. Gopal Agarwal, why is there a need to have any policy, a citizenship policy, which is based on religion?
Because if you see, the basis of this is Nehru Liaquat Agreement, which specifically mentions that any minorities in both the countries after partition will get due rights and will be treated equally. But what happened in Pakistan was the minority persecution. If you go into the historical aspect or anything, you will know that at the time of partition there were more than 30% Hindus and other minorities which have been drastically reduced, and there is a persecution. They have a human rights violation, they have no religious rights, and there are conversions, forced conversions, all these activities are there. So if the Congress and other opposition should answer why they did not pursue for due implementation of Nehru Liaquat Agreement where it should have been done. Second thing is that in 1971, it was Indira Gandhi which talked about this NRC and other thing, and migrants from the Bangladesh, illegal immigrants, etc. So those issues have to be resolved. They were the complexities which were creating, and we have history where we have given citizens to particular group of people, either from Uganda or in 1971 from Bangladesh, where there is a particular identification of persecuted people, those minorities in these three countries, six minorities, religious minorities which are facing persecution. They have come to India before 2014. They were living in here as illegal immigrant and were not able to go back. They were not ready to go back. They feared persecution, they feared killing, they feared conversions, all kind of atrocities. They were not ready to go. India had given them long-term visa.
Okay.
So that problem had to be solved. These are several problems which are legacy issues, which are historical issues, which are humanitarian issues.
So, okay,
All this
so Mr.
required
Gopal Agarwal,
a
before I take
long-term
it to our other
resolution
panelists,
of the problem.
I'm just trying to understand, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, before I take it to our other panelists, my question to you was, why should we have a policy which is based on religion? But I don't think that's what got answered there. My second question to you is, if this is the policy, then India is opening up its doors. 1 minute now. Let me finish my point.
I'm telling you the first answer.
Which is what?
Because the religious people are being persecuted
Because Nehru
in
did
these
this?
three countries. These six religious communities are being... No, it is not Nehru alone. I am telling you, these six religious communities are facing discrimination and are being persecuted religiously in these three countries.
So what about the Ahmadis?
The Indian support.
So what about the Ahmadis in Pakistan, the Balochis in Pakistan? What about the Rohingyas in Myanmar? Are they not being persecuted as well? Or we don't care about them?
No, we care. Nobody is stopping others. But this is particularly a large-scale population which we
No. So I am asking you, why is it religion-based? You can make it country-based, and people being persecuted for their identities in this in any of these three countries. Why could it simply not be that? Neerja Chaudhary, should it not be people being persecuted on the basis of their identities?
In Pakistan occupied POK.
What is happening in Balochistan? Are they not being persecuted?
Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Yes.
Then
so for them, we are supporting their freedom movement, but they are not minorities in their countries.
Can it be denied that this policy is simply based on religion?
Yes.
Okay, 1 minute, Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Let me take it to our other panelists. Neerja Chaudhary, please.
I think what is the message that's going across, very simply put, of this CAB, is that it is to favor these six minority communities persecuted in these three countries, but to leave the Muslims out. So even though Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, said it is not targeted at the Muslims, the actual upshot of it is that the Muslims are left out. If there are Muslims who've come from these countries, they may not be facing religious persecution, but for other persecution, if they've come to India as a refuge, then some persecution they have been facing. So this is the point. You are drawing the line.
So they can ask for refugee status.
Yeah, but you see what also this law will also do is to give citizenship to all those of the 19 lakhs in Assam who were in that list of who couldn't get citizenship. Only 4.5 lakhs were Muslims, the rest were Hindu. This will confer citizenship to all those people. Now the northeast of India is
no, it is not applicable in Assam and other places.
Some states have said, and as Mr. Shah.
No. They have been separate.
You see,
they have
it is not applicable
states
to certain parts, not all of Assam. Not all of us.
Who's conducting the program?
Certain parts. Now, are you going to be tracking?
Only certain parts. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Yes.
You know where there is a inner line permit.
Yes.
And there are tribal areas in 2 states.
Yes.
One state of Meghalaya covered by the 6th schedule. Manipur, because there's such an uproar there. So you've made exemptions for where there are tribal population. But parts of Assam, it is, and the Assamese are saying this, it negates the Assam Accord. So what you're going to be doing, where 1971 was the cutoff year for people illegal migrants to be coming in, now you made 2014 December as the cutoff year by this, meaning 43 more years of illegal migration, which is Hindu and including Bengali. So a lot of pressure on the people's identity and these questions that have come to the fore for so many decades in Assam. So they are naturally worried and they're agitated. So what I see, you know, this will become some kind of an Assamese versus Bengali thing also, which may be a card that the BJP may want to play, favoring the Bengalis and reach out to the Bengalis in West Bengal where elections are due in 2021. Leaving for the moment the Assamese, agitated Assamese out, you know. And this question comes to mind, is that also a card they are playing? But, you know, this may be the thin end of the wedge and we may now be looking at NRC, which is what the government has said. They will pursue.
No, so
this is only the first step. Of course, people are confident.
Yes, okay. So let's take that point and let me take it across to Mr. Sangeet Kumar Ragi. Mr. Ragi, if this is about a policy for 3 countries and religious minorities in those countries who are being persecuted and taking them in, then why is the rest of the country taking them in but not the Northeast? Today, the Home Minister has said that even Manipur will not be included because, well, we'll put them under the inner line permit. So all of the Northeast, barring some parts of Assam, is not included, but the rest of the countries, I thought we were more for integration than anything else. यहाँ तो उल्टा हो रहा
है. I will come to this point, but first of all, we all will be dishonest and hypocrite when we suggest that the religious demography doesn't play a significant role in polity of a country. You must understand that United States of America, in the formation of United States of America, the religion played a key role. Even in formation of the print capitalism, when the Bible was circulated at the mass level in Britain, the British nationhood came. So religion always has played a role in the history and even in case of India and Pakistan.
Correct.
We shouldn't forget that this country has been divided in the name of religion. Second point, let us understand that all these 3 states which have been excluded, they are the theocratic states. Bangladesh is a declared theocratic state, Pakistan is a theocratic state, Afghanistan is a theocratic state. Secondly, there has been a madrasa missionaries walking a radicalized Islam in all these countries. The India cannot afford the numerical political Islam, radicalized Islam anymore in this country. The same people had divided this country long back in 1947. We cannot have this kind of a population in this country anymore. So we must make a distinction between the Indian Muslim and the Bangladeshi Muslims, Pakistani Muslims and the Muslims coming from Afghanistan. India cannot, and the spurious logic of secularism cannot be used, staged to the extent that it should be the, dharamsala for everyone coming in here.
Okay.
Second point, Amit Shah has rightly said that the Constitution, just a moment, the Constitution Article 14 does talk about equality before law, but it prevents class legislation, but it doesn't prevent classification of the legislation, which the Supreme Court has justified in one of its judgment. Second point, what a state has to do in this regard? What about the Hindu refugees? What the Hindu refugees were here in India for last 70 years, nobody raised the question of secularism. The bogus secularism worked against them. And none of the Lutyens Delhi journalists and so-called intellectuals patronized by the Congress system never raised this bogus bogey of secularism at all.
Okay.
Now when the state is trying to give them the historical wrong and right thing, the due what they wanted, then they are crying.
Okay,
and again,
I
find that the Muslims in India, last point. No.
How will I get any response from what you're saying?
Tanvi, last point. Tanvi, last point. I think that the Muslims in India are opposing it because they see a future that the increased numerical strength of Islam in this country, in different parts of the country, they have changed the religious demography, which has led to their inflated, increased political strength, particularly in Pashchim Bengal, particularly in Bihar, in Uttar Pradesh, also in Maharashtra and coastal areas of southern India.
So essentially you're saying...
So this is the right time to strike and them to delegitimize their citizenship.
I'm sorry, but are you suggesting at the same time that this is a strategy by the Hindus of this country and those who may be supporting this bill to say, we want the upper hand when it comes to the politics and demographics in this country?
No.
Why? Why does it have to be about any religion? How is it that the Muslims are backing this to get its upper hand, but not the Hindus to get upper hand on demographics? Mr. Sangeet Kumar Ragi, there is a problem with the way you're seeing the situation.
Tanvi,
but I will let it be.
No,
I have a question for you.
No, Tanvi,
I have a question for you. Do you support?
Oh, yes.
Do you support this citizenship amendment bill to give citizenship to these refugees or not? You back it?
This citizenship bill is accepting the refugees, the Hindus, Christians, Sikh, Jain, but not the coming from those who are the religiously not persecuted in this country. You are talking about the other Rohingyas. Rohingyas are not the religiously persecuted.
They are not being persecuted in their country.
Burma is not a theocratic state.
They are not being persecuted in their own country. They are not seeking refuge in our country.
I'm sorry to say.
Ahmadiyas are not seeking refuge outside of Pakistan.
I'm sorry to say there are several 56 country Muslim destinations they can go. Who are the people behind this country? Who are the forces?
So you are essentially admitting tonight, Mr. Sangeet Kumar Ragi, that this is a policy based on religion.
There are forces behind.
And the Muslims can go to the Muslim-dominated countries because this is a Hindu majoritarian country, Javed Ansari. That's essentially what it is.
No,
Muslims
I'm sorry,
don't have to come here.
No,
they may be radicals,
I'm not saying
but those religiously persecuted in these three countries.
I am putting it a different logic.
What is
that the Muslims are trying to work against this bill only because they want to give patronage to the Pakistani and Bangladeshi elements and enclaves in this country.
Why?
I am making charges against them rather.
Why? Why would they do that?
Why they should be accepted? Why they should be accepted? Who are the people who brought Rohingyas to Jammu and Kashmir?
Okay.
Why they went to the Hyderabad, thousands of kilometers away from Burma borders? Who are the people behind it?
Okay.
Is it not a conspiracy against this country?
Mr. Ansari, go ahead, please.
Yeah, but what's the question?
Would you want to respond to what Sangeet Kumar Ragi is saying? That the fact is that we don't want radical Muslims coming in our country. We're only giving refuge to the religious minorities who are being persecuted in Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan.
Look, he said a lot of preposterous things. He says Muslims are crying or are complaining or are opposing this bill because it will deprive them from increasing their numbers and thereby increasing their political clout. I mean, there's a whole lot of preposterous things. I don't want to get into a slanging match with him. He's entitled to his views, however misplaced or weird they may be. But if you want to know my view on this bill, I think this is a constitutional monstrosity which is about to be perpetuated on this republic. For the first time in 70 years, India is turning away. In 47, India was partitioned. Those who believed in the fact that religion defines nationhood, opted for Pakistan. And the rest of us continue to live in India. I subscribe to the view that religion does not define nationhood or citizenship. India is a country where flowers of all kinds bloom, you know. India has been home to every religion. We are now changing the very basis of our constitution. This not only militates against everything that our founding fathers stood for. This also militates against Article 14, and hopefully the courts will strike it down.
Disagrees with you?
No. Can I count?
And what about Tamils?
Can I
Okay,
come
they
in,
have a
Tanvi?
bone to pick with Muslims. What about Tamils in Sri Lanka?
Tanvi,
What about Tamils in
Tanvi,
Sri Lanka?
Can I say
Why have they
something?
been
No,
kept
no, no.
out?
Let me, Tanvi.
Okay, 2 points.
Tanvi,
2 points. Sangeet
Tanvi,
Kumar Ragi
Tanvi,
can answer the first part, and then Gopal Agarwal can come into the what about those who've been given refuge in Tamil Nadu. Yes.
Tanvi, when we try to discard this issue that the political Islam is not a reality, then we are dreaming in a different world altogether. Why is it so that when they are going to United States of America, they are creating a pocket, and then there should be a Shariat law. In Britain, they are asking for the Shariat law. In France, they have been living together for 700 years, and yet they are asking for the Shariat law. In Australia, when they went there, they are not talking about the Shariat law. But when they established themselves and created certain colonies, they are agitating now for the Shariat law. So the political Islam is a reality throughout the world. So what is the guarantee that these radicalized elements who have come from this radicalized country won't be raising such kind of voices? So why it is for the country to decide, and no bogus. Again, I am saying that the secularism stressed beyond a point has really damaged this country.
Okay. This is the point. Fair point. Let's get in Shikha Mukherjee on this point. Shikha Mukherjee, what is to say that we won't have radical elements coming in our country, which is why we need a citizenship policy which is based on religion? That's the argument Sangeet Kumar Ragi is making.
See, I think I agree with Mr.
Can I say
Ansari
something?
that there
Mr.
are
Gopal
certain
Agarwal, coming to you
arguments
next.
which are being made, please, may I finish?
Yes, please.
I mean, I haven't even started before somebody wants to say something. I mean, this is ridiculous. But however, the fact of the matter is that what they are saying and what their government is saying on the floor of the parliament or as responsible ministers are slightly different. First and foremost, Mr. Rajnath Singh, who is a very senior politician and a respected member of the Bharatiya Janata Party, having been its past president, says that people of Indian origin from these places who are facing prosecution will be allowed to apply for citizenship under this bill. That's the first thing he says. Mr. Amit Shah, who is the current president of the BJP and the Home Minister of this country, then says that no minorities will be impacted. The Bharatiya Janata Party's other leaders are also saying that those who are already citizens of this country will not be impacted. Therefore, the preposterous, I am repeating what the words of Mr. Ansari, the preposterous arguments made on your channel by certain people should be taken as attempts by some elements to create an environment where every Muslim becomes a potential terrorist. Now, there is a particular phrase that one of these gentlemen was using. He said these people who are coming from those countries. The fact of the matter is that those who are already citizens of India are not coming from anywhere. They are here. And he also, traveled across the world, the US, the UK, Australia, France, what is happening in those countries. That's none of our business. That's none of the business of our parliament. For Lord's sake, this is a bill which is being discussed and is about to be passed in the Indian parliament. Do we care about what they do in their countries and in their parliament? Unless there is a foreign policy implication, and there's certainly foreign policy implications to the way in which the citizenship bill has been framed.
Yes.
Having said that, let me also add that the citizenship amendment bill is an amendment which changes the status of who. Mr. Rajnath Singh has said one correct thing, that people of Indian origin. Great. But there are people of Indian origin who are also Muslims. There are people of Indian origin there are people of non-Indian origin who have been living in this country for now over 50 years. And these are the Tibetans. They're also here. So what is this whole business about only Afghanistan, only Bangladesh, only Pakistan? Are there no other people who have been persecuted? No other people of Indian origin who have been persecuted elsewhere in the world? There's, of course,
Fair
Uganda.
enough.
Everybody knows what happened there.
Right.
There are other places also from where people have
Okay, so
moved.
I will go
And
across to
therefore,
the other
this
side.
kind of
Yes.
first and foremost is it
Sika,
violates the basic structure of the Constitution.
Yes. Yes, well,
Sorry,
at the
yes,
end of the
please.
day, I would have to say that I don't think for any policy in our country, religion should be the basis, even if it is about giving citizenship,
Can I say?
refuge to anyone. It has to be on humanitarian grounds and nothing else. I will come back to our panelists, but I have got Zubeen Garg on the phone line with me, very famous playback singer who also, has
Tanvi,
his
I
roots
have
in
to say
Assam.
something.
Mr. Garg, thank you for speaking with us. You at one point, were the voice behind BJP's campaign in 2016. You lent your voice to them and their campaign song. But you have a very different stand to take to what's happening tonight in the nation and the debate that's going on. Where do you stand on the citizenship bill?
See, my point is like, why everyone is opposing it? My question is because there are some loopholes there. And they're trying to create a civil war here between the Bengalis, the Assamese, the Hindus, and the Muslims, which we cannot permit, actually. And all the organizations, all the students' organizations, all the private organizations, we are all together, and that's why we're fighting it back. And, this bill will be like liable to only Assam, basically. It won't work in Manipur, it won't work in Nagaland, partially it will work in Meghalaya, and partially it will be in Tripura. But the whole Assam will be affected. So lakhs of people, lakhs of refugees will come from outside. So how will we manage them? That's the point.
But the government says, Zubeen, that the indigenous the villages and districts where more of indigenous people live in Assam won't be included in this, and they will be kept out of this. You don't believe that will help?
Yeah, and we had an accord with the students' union, like during the Assam agitation, that after 1971, no Bangladeshis will be allowed here. Either he's a Muslim, or he's a Bengali, or he's a Assamese, or he's a Hindu. It's like that. So we are like imposing that. We are trying to impose it all these years, and even the Congress government didn't do it. The BJP is also not doing it. So we are fighting for that.
So what is your demand? Are you saying that all outsiders, all Bangladeshis should not be allowed to come in, irrespective of what their religion is?
Yeah, of course. That we are sticking into it, and like we are trying to block it.
Okay, all right. Zubeen Garg, thank you for speaking to us. Mr. Gopal Agarwal, go ahead and respond to that. Here is a man who sang your campaign song for Assam in 2016, and here he stands today opposing this, saying, "Don't do this to me and my state." Your response.
Tanvi, if we want to discuss on the constitutionality of the bill, let us talk on that. First thing is that those who are saying that it is unconstitutional, as Article 14, 15 and 21 talks about citizenship not based on any religion, I have to simply clarify that this talks about illegal immigrant, giving them citizenship from these three countries which belong to 6 religion communities. It doesn't talk about existing citizenship. So Article 14, 15 and 21 apply to existing citizenship of India. Therefore, there is no constitutional
Article
violation.
14 is not
Second
to the
thing
existing
is
citizen.
that why,
It's for all people.
no, let
This
me
is
complete.
ignorance.
No, I did not object to whatever you said. it may be. What the second point is that
At least, but
when we are
talk
talking
sense.
about
No,
citizenship to illegal
I must make
immigrant,
it clear that the Article 14 applies
One at a
to
time, please.
everyone.
One at a time,
It
please.
doesn't
One
make
at a time.
distinction between
No,
citizen
I
and
was
non-citizen.
also wanted to make it clear.
Okay, okay. Make
No,
it clear,
I
please.
also
Mr.
had
Gopal
so many
Agarwal.
things to clarify when you
Mr.
were.
Gopal Agarwal,
you
the point.
cannot misinform people.
Yes,
Let me finish.
Mr. Gopal
Then they can
Agarwal,
say.
the
cannot
point that is being
misinform
made
people.
here is that Article 14 is not necessarily for citizens
No, I
already
also
existing
wanted
in this
so
country.
many points. Tanvi,
Okay.
I also
Yes, yes,
wanted,
respond.
also wanted
We are
to make
listening
so
to
many
you.
points. I kept my, I kept quiet.
But the point
second
is that
thing
you
is
cannot
that when we are
misinform
talking
people.
about citizenship
If you want to misinform
no,
people
you were misleading completely in your
that's one
statements.
thing.
You were talking about some other thing. We are discussing this citizenship amendment bill. You were saying that there are other people also who are being persecuted. They should also be given citizen. That's a different thing.
Why
This
is it different?
particular bill
Who
talks
have
about
been
citizenship
persecuted
to a particular
and have been given
because
refuge in India. You
earlier
should know
also,
about your own history. If you don't, then it's a shame. It's a
there
shame
were
that you don't
earlier
know your own
also.
history.
There were earlier also similar kind of bills. People from Uganda were given citizenship.
Tragic
That
that
time
you
why
do not
people
know
were
your
not given
own history.
citizenship from
I
Pakistan.
mean,
Okay, 1
this
minute.
is
Mr.
Then why did
ridiculous.
you
Just
shout
let him
that
finish.
time?
Let him
If
finish his
people
point,
were
please.
given,
Yes,
people were
Gopal
given.
Agarwal. Yes. Why is it only about 6 religions from
This
these 3
madam will
countries?
speak
People
first
from
or me?
Pakistan have been
Shukla
given
Mukherjee, let him
citizenship in
finish
this
his point,
country,
please.
as
Yes,
you know
yes.
very well, and therefore I
Correct.
don't see why you are not facing the facts.
Correct. So, Gopal Agarwal, why is it only 6 religions from these 3 countries? Finish your point, please.
I have told in the first statement
And now?
that these 6 communities are facing religious persecution in these 3 countries. And this bill is particularly targeted to illegal immigrants from these 3 countries belonging to this 6
so are there other bills
religious
coming?
communities.
So are there other
and
bills?
They are
so are there other bills for minorities being persecuted across the world? So, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, are there other bills in the making for minorities being persecuted in other parts of the world, or do we only feel about these guys?
There were several bills.
I'm asking you now, your government, your policy. No, don't give me history lessons anymore. I'm asking you about now.
I'm asking this.
Every day, your party, your government gives me lectures about how India as a country cannot afford any more people coming in this country because we have limited natural resources. So I'm asking you exactly where is the policy. Let me go across to Mr. Yogendra Yadav.
Lecture me on future bills.
I can't lecture you on future bills. I can only ask you. Good evening, Mr. Yogendra Yadav, joining us on this conversation as well, Mr. Yadav. The point of conversation right now, as you join this debate, is Gopal Agarwal telling us that this is not unconstitutional because Article 14, which says the state shall not deny to any person equality before the law. The state cannot discriminate on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, is only for its citizens, not for refugees or illegal immigrants. Mr. Yadav, do you agree?
I'm stunned and surprised how casual the BJP spokesperson is about Constitution of India. Sir, it is not a matter of opinion. As Tanvi, you read out, it clearly said, yes, that's what I'm saying. As you read out, it applies to every person. And the Supreme Court of India has clarified it more than once, that it is not only about the citizen. This particular bill is about giving exemption to potentially illegal migrants. It says we will pick up only 3 countries. The first question is, why only these 3 countries? Second, it says within these countries, it does not even say within these 3 countries, anyone who's persecuted on religious grounds. No, it specifies them by name. So the second question will be, why only these? Even within these countries, there are Muslim religiously persecuted minorities, namely Shias and Ahmadiyas of Pakistan, also others. The third thing is that it then goes on to grant another exemption to some inner line permit states from this entire provision. The question would be on what ground? So there are 3 degrees of arbitrariness built into this act. Therefore, it is completely unconstitutional. But in a deeper sense, and that's the point another panelist was making, this goes against the preamble to the Indian Constitution, which now mentions secularism. But even if you were to forget it, it goes against what the Supreme Court of India had called the basic structure of Indian Constitution. This country is a secular country, and by admitting religion to be one of the potential grounds for giving or refusing citizenship to someone, we are admitting a criteria which secular countries cannot. Secularism is not an optional thing for India, because either India will be a secular, either we will have a secular India, or we will have no India at all. My fear is then that in its petty anxiety to protect its Hindu Bengali vote bank in Assam, and in creating potential communal rift in Bengal so that BJP can benefit a few more votes in Bengal as well, this ruling party is risking the very foundations of this country, reopening the wounds of partition. Today the Home Minister referred to that. So he wants to reopen the entire history of partition. I would plead with these BJP people, for heaven's sake, win Assam, take Bengal without elections, but please don't open the wounds of partition in this country. You don't know what you are doing. You are cutting the foundations of the tree of Bharat Mata. Please don't do that.
Mr. Jawad Ansari wanted to make a point, and then we will get a response from the BJP. Mr. Ansari.
Well, actually, I want to make a point, but after Yogen ji has spoken, I don't think there is anything else that one can add. I wholeheartedly endorse everything that he says. This militates against the very idea of India. This militates against the very idea of India. They are changing not just the definition of our constitution, but the definition of everything that was good about India. And I'm sorry to say, this is not the India that I grew up in. This is not the India, that my forefathers chose to live in.
So the two-nation theory, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, is that really going to be your excuse for bringing about such a religion-based law?
Tanvi, if I may have a half a minute.
Yes, Ms. Mukherjee, coming to you.
Whatever question.
Tanvi, one last point.
Let me finish.
Tanvi, one last point.
Okay. Mr. Jawad Ansari wanted to add to his point. Yes.
Will be Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He lost the ideological battle in 1947. The BJP has willy-nilly endorsed everything that he stood for. That's what makes me the saddest. We turned our face, we rejected him.
Absolutely.
And today in my own homeland, they are endorsing that mad view of Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
Yes. Mr. Gopal Agarwal, two-nation theory, that's your excuse?
Now can I say?
Yes, please.
Yeah, no, I tell you, we had, when we were, for last 10, 12 years, we have seen the plight of Hindu people and other minorities from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan coming, and the way they were telling their stories. Where were these, Mr. Yogendra Yadav? At that time, we held several camps. They were living such a bad life in Pakistan. At the time of partition, more than 30% population of Hindus was there in Pakistan. What is the current status? What happened to that population? What was there? How violations were there to their human rights? The religious persecution they faced. So because of that, they are already in India living a very bad life, and they don't want to go back. You need to give them they are living in India since before 2014 on a long-term visa without any right. They don't want to go back. They had several very bad experiences. They were persecuted and nobody was talking about them. Okay. So this is the first time their problem is being looked into. There can be other problems. There can be other sections of the society in other countries.
Mr. Gopal Agarwal, let me just say this, and I'm going to let our panelists really respond specifically to you. I'm sorry. You've made your point. I got your point. I got your point.
To tell you
humanitarian basis, humanitarian policies, opening up your arms and your doors to people who seek refuge in your country cannot be on the basis of religion. You can't feel bad for certain sections segment of people
cannot
who
be
are
the
being
solution
persecuted
to
for their
all the problems
identity
in the country.
and not feel bad for the
Every
others.
bill is looking after a particular problems
Oh.
of particular sections.
Okay.
This bill is not solution to every problem that the country faces.
Sure. This bill is just
for a
politics.
solution
This
those
bill
religious
is just politics.
minorities.
The new
We
political
are
weapon for the
playing,
BJP. What else is left to be
whatever
done
you may
after the
call,
Ayodhya is
the
done?
politics was
Two people want to
when
respond to you. Two
when
people.
you did not
Okay,
look
okay.
into why Liaquat Nehru Pact was not being implemented in Pakistan.
Why is
they
your
were
party
being
stuck in
persecuted,
history
why they were
over
being
half a
throwing out.
century ago? I don't understand that, but all right. Yogendra
No,
Yadav
it is not
and then
history.
Shikha Mukherjee.
It is
Yes,
present.
Yogendra Yadav, please. Yogendra Yadav. Mr. Gopal Agarwal, listen to others now, please.
2 or 3 things I wanted to say. Number one, I'm deeply touched when I hear BJP's concerns about minorities. I can't tell you how deeply touched I am. I just want to take one more step forward and remind them of what Swami Vivekananda said. This is the famous Chicago speech. Swami Vivekananda said, I feel proud of the country I come from. I feel proud of my religion. Why? Because my country has offered shelter to anyone who sought shelter. That is the principle. Let that be incorporated. If the BJP says, I agree. I do agree that Hindus in Pakistan have suffered religious discrimination. In Bangladesh, for a certain point in history, they did suffer religious discrimination. But so have Tibetans who have come to India. So have Tamils in Sri Lanka. So have possibly some Muslims in Nepal when Nepal was officially a Hindu state. So open your arms to everyone. I would be the one with you. I would salute you. I would celebrate you. Why don't you do so? The real issue is that you don't want to follow Vivekananda. You want to follow Jinnah. You have an envy of Pakistan. You want my country to become an imitator of Pakistan, and I'm afraid that I'm not willing to accept. India shall not be a Hindu Pakistan. We rejected not just Pakistan, we rejected the idea of Pakistan. And today I shall not embrace the idea of Pakistan simply because your party wants to get a few extra votes in Assam and West Bengal.
Okay, Shikha Mukherjee wanted to come in. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, just to say, just to add to what Yogendra Yadav has just been saying, there is an element of, if you look at the Citizenship Amendment Bill and the speed with which it was brought in, there is as such no great hurry. The process of granting citizenship to people who are persecuted and have submitted and have appealed for citizenship should have been. That could have been fast-tracked instead of bringing in this bill. The purpose of this bill, as Yogendra Yadav and all of us believe, is political. And therefore, the question that I am intrigued by, and the BJP has not answered, is why December 31, 2014? What happens to a person who thinks of herself or himself persecuted on the 1st of January 2015? What will this bill do to that person? If you insist on setting such a definite, the Assam Accord had its own reasons, but this particular bill, with its cut-off date, what is it going to do to the so-called persecuted in other beyond that particular deadline?
Mr. Gopal Agarwal, is there a rationale
here?
Mr.
And that
Gopal
politics
Agarwal?
is very much a way of creating this instability in areas where the BJP has political ambitions.
Okay, Gopal Agarwal, it's just politics. That's how you decide on timelines.
You should have seen. If you should have seen the plight of these people, we have held several camps for several years for these people, whether in Jodhpur, even in Delhi, the way the miserable life they were leading in these countries and the way they were persecuted. This bill is for solution of that particular problem, which we have identified and the country has identified. They have been staying in India with long-term visa,
good detention
with
centers
many
for them
as
here.
illegal.
instead of letting them be miserable.
Well, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, do try and go to some of these refugee camps and also see plight of people who are there, because your NRC system is so messed up. The people who are genuinely citizens of this country, some of them who've actually served in the armed forces, have ended up being in these refugee camps. If your heart, bleeds for people who wrongly end up in refugee camps, please do go and see these refugee camps to see how people who are legitimately citizens of our country are also suffering.
Friends,
yes.
Why they did not
I have
implement
no friends in any
NRC
political party, and you know that very well. I have no friends in any political party, and you know that very well, Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Sangeet Kumar Ragi, please.
But why this deadline of December 31?
Mr. Ragi, can it be denied that this is nothing but simply a political move? BJP is doing exactly what the Congress has done for years and years together, play the religion card for its political benefits. And again, the question that I asked you the first time that we didn't get the chance to address, why exclude 80% of Northeast from this law? I thought we were for integration. 1 minute, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, let me finish my question, please. I thought we were for integration of this country. We included Kashmir.
Tanvi,
we removed Article 370. Now we are expanding inner line permit.
Tanvi, when we say that we rejected two-nation theory, I think that then why we divided this nation? Is it not a reality that we divided the nation in name of religion? One of the panelists was saying that why I was trying to map out the working of the political Islam across the country. If you don't want to understand, you are entitled to hold your views, but please don't make personal comment on the panelist. I can make similar comments. Third, Yogendra Yadav, what Yogendra Yadav was talking about, is there no, lamponic statement or, satirical statement in that he was touched by the, sense of, compassion in the minds and hearts of the BJP towards the minorities? Was India secular? Did India become secular only when secularism was inserted in the preamble of the Constitution? No, Yogendra Yadav. When you are saying so, you were also satirical and you were also political about it. So let's come back to the question that why the BJP excludes all these three nation states. Only because they are the theocratic states. They are the theocratic states, and it is only these 6 minority communities
is not a theocratic state. Please get your facts right.
I'm not talking about the interfaith sectional conflicts. Please don't preach me, don't lecture me. I'm sorry to say. Don't.
That's
no. I'm.
Correct your facts then.
What wrong I made, madam?
Can I correct him, please?
What wrong I stated?
Yes, please do.
Is this not a reality?
Yes, Yogendra Yadav. Yes, Yogendra Yadav.
Is it not a reality? Yeah. What was the percentage
two factual
of Hindu population in Pakistan?
You said these are the... Sir, you said that these are the only 3 states which accord one religion a certain special status. You called it theocratic. Please allow me to remind you that Nepal, for the period covered by this law, which is to say before 2008, Nepal was a Hindu monarchy. It was also a state which should have been covered by this law. And let me remind you, Article 9 of the Sri Lankan Constitution still says that it is the duty of the state to promote Buddhism. Why is Sri Lanka not covered by this? Please explain to me.
Can I speak now?
Yes. Quickly, please. I'm running out of time, but only because I want this conversation to come to an end. Yes, Mr. Ragi.
Tanvi, Bangladesh is not an Islamic
Nepal
state.
is no more a Hindu state at all. You read, you get your facts corrected Sikha Mukherjee. Article
for the
2B
period
of
covered by
Bangladesh
this
Constitution
law,
talks about it.
Okay, you know what? I think we're getting derailed here because at the end of the day,
I'm
essentially the
talking about
debate
the
still
Bangladesh.
about is whether or not we are forming a policy. I don't care about what Bangladesh does, what Pakistan does, what Nepal or Sri Lanka does, Mr. Dagi. I care about what my country's policies are. And I have a problem when my country starts having a policy which is based on religion. If you are against illegal immigrants, by all means stop all illegal immigrants. If you are opening your doors to refugees, by all means then look at the legitimacy of why they are seeking refuge in your country. Political reasons, religious persecution reasons, or whatever else the reason be. The policy to give citizenship to anybody in this country should not be based on religion. And so, yes, Mr. Sangeet Kumar Ragi, we didn't decide the two-nation theory. Somebody else did for us. Do we really have to go back over half a century, 70 years ago, and say, let's do that again? Let's again reiterate that that's how this country was born and that's what this country will be about. No. We are a secular country. We may be opposed to illegal immigration, but we cannot decide who enters our country and doesn't enter our country basis their religious identity. It has to be who deserves our refuge, who needs our refuge, and whether or not we can actually take them in. It has to be humanitarian, not from the prism of religion, not because you're Hindu or Muslim or Sikh or Christian, or whether or not you need my help should be the point. The only reason I see this being pushed, in the avatar it's getting pushed, is for political purposes. It's the latest political weapon for the BJP and that's about it. Why else? Otherwise, would you say only half the country will open its doors to these refugees and not the rest? Why exclude the Northeast? Because there you have other political ambitions. Think about it. The debate continues. It continues in the parliament even as we wrap up this conversation. So we are watching out for the response that Home Minister gives in the Lok Sabha. For now, we're completely out of time. Thank you so much for all of our panelists for joining us on this debate. Onion prices continue to spike up for the common man, now touching 200 rupees per kg in some parts of our country. 200 rupees. Take a moment to think about this. The government's move to introduce ban on exports, bring in more import of onion into the country, crack down on hoarding, reduce the stocking, none of this seems to be helping so far. Instead, this is what is happening. West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee is actually inspecting the market as if that's how the problem to high prices will get resolved. In Andhra Pradesh, the TDP chief obviously using it for his own political gains and holding a protest. In Puducherry, Chief Minister Narayan Swamy thought it was a great idea to start gifting onions. 1 kg onion gifted to each woman on the occasion of Sonia Gandhi's birthday today. While the common man, and that's in the 4th segment there in your window, the farmer died in a queue trying to fight and get some subsidized onions. That's the plight of the common man. For people who say, how does it matter, don't eat onions. Onions is an integral part of the food. Imagine the plight of the farmer trying to get a basic food when he has no money. 200 kgs in Bengaluru, 180 rupees per kg in Mumbai, 120 per kg in Bhopal, 160 per kg in Lucknow. That's the price that we are looking at right now. Whose fault is it? Dinakar Lanka, spokesperson for the BJP, and Seema Malik of the NCP joining us this evening. Mr. Lanka, good evening to you. When will we get respite? It's been so many days and weeks now, and the prices are still going up.
Yeah. It is the basic thing. Onion is the part of every family in our nation around all corners. India has annual requirement 150 lakh metric tons per annum. Per capita onion is around 14 kgs in India. We had placed 37th rank in onion consumption out of 150 countries. These are all the facts. But as far as supply demand is concerned, there is a huge gap happened due to the prevailing conditions, drought conditions happened in the Maharashtra, where 38% of onion production of whole nation comes from that state, and it adversely affect the drought conditions and the various natural calamities. Due to these facts, production was came down. It is the fact. Apart from Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh is producing 18%, Karnataka is providing 16%, and the rest of other country, Gujarat, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh together, 28%. Here problem is the supply of the onion on April, which starts in Rabi season from Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Gujarat. It serves till September. Just mid of August at Kharif season from Andhra Pradesh, Kurnool, which produces the onion.
Oh, I don't want to know the reason anymore, Mr. Dinakar Lanka. I can give you 5 more reasons.
Then 1 minute.
No. Don't give me reasons and don't lecture me on agricultural output of this country. Thank you for finding out that this is how it happens. Dinakar Lanka, my question to you is, when will the prices come down? It's been more than 2 weeks. People are fed up of buying onions for 100 rupees. What is your solution? You allowed half of the buffer stock to rot. Half of the buffer stock went to waste.
Let you allow me.
Quickly, please tell me, when will the prices come down? I don't want a lecture from you on where onion is grown in this country.
Let you hear first. Let you hear first. When you ask the question, let you hear. Facts should be known, and what kind of decisions the union government has taken. Let I explain. Let you allow me 30 seconds. In Kharif crop, which comes from October, it alone comes from Maharashtra only. Due to the drought conditions, due to the prevailing short supply, deficit supply from the Maharashtra, this problem arises. What union government is doing? This is important question which you are asked. Yes, union government very much cautiously examined the facts. September itself, exports was banned. Imports orders has given after requisites come from various states as per their demand requirements. Already Egypt, Afghanistan and Turkey, we have placed orders. 150,000 metric tons we are expecting from Egypt. Next 1 week, within 1 week, 20,000 metric tons are coming from Egypt. We are getting from Turkey and Afghanistan also. So next 7 to 10 days we are coming out from this problem.
7 to 10 days, Seema Malik. We have been paying the price for onions above 100 rupees per kilo for now over a week, 10 days. Today BJP is telling us wait 10 more days. Seema Malik, delayed action or not?
This is really unfortunate.
Yes.
This is really unfortunate.
We are not telling wait for
1 minute now, Mr. Lanka. Please listen to Seema Malik.
This is really unfortunate. This is really unfortunate, sir, that you are giving the reasons like a drought and flood and all those things. But you are not coming to the real point. Actually,
isn't it fact? I think you are from NCP, means you are coming from Maharashtra.
Dinakar Lanka, I am going to tell you one last time. Please listen to the other side. I don't have time for this kind of yelling. Seema Malik, please. Can I just hear Seema Malik?
This is, see in Delhi, what is happening in Delhi? The AAP and the BJP, they are both of them are blaming each other, sitting like, and the BJP is accused the Kejriwal government that they are not taking our onions from us, and the Mr. Kejriwal is telling that they are not giving onions to us. They say that they have, they have returned the 4 trucks loaded with the onions and all those things. But they are telling that he's telling this about the flood and the drought and all those things. But basically, what I think is that they are a complete failure in controlling this onion price. And when it was UPA government, they made a lot of hue and cry about this. But they are not talking about the real problem, the middleman and the hoarding. You know, these things they are not talking, which is the real problem actually.
Okay, I'm completely out of time. I take your point.
About the storage.
Yes,
they're not
they haven't.
giving
For 6 years,
remedies. They're just avoiding in the parliament also. They don't want to talk about the onion.
Tanvi,
no government has focused on storage. No government has focused on crackdown on voting because it works for them to allow the traders community to just loot the people of this country. 50% of the buffer stock we had for onions was wasted, just rotting like that without the government waking up. The government is waking up now scrambling to import some more onions so that we can get some more relief. The onions that have been ordered in the last week will still take several more days to reach our shores, to reach your market. Till then, viewers, be prepared to pay 150 rupees, 200 rupees because the hoarders and the traders in our country right now are having a field day. And so we'll find all the other possible rhetorical conversations to distract you while you pay such high skyrocketing prices for onion. Fact of the matter is the government woke up to this situation very late. Yes, unseasonal rains may have damaged the crops, but that too was a while ago. Even today, the steps that are being taken is to reduce the stocking limits. Why now? What were we waiting for all this while? Today, in parts in Bengaluru, onions are being sold at 200 rupees per kg. Imagine that. Completely out of time. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the Urban Debate. Let's go across to Sanjana, who will be putting the spotlight back on fire safety and how every time, Sanjana, the corrupt, the negligent government officials get away.
Tanvi, the national capital has several agencies, central and state government authorities, autonomous bodies, and what's common with all of them is that they're all angling for power. They're all angling for their piece of the pie. And now we're going into elections. Tall promises, big claims, all are very well, but where do these people disappear when it comes to fires like the one on Sunday that killed 43 people? I'll tell you where it comes down to, Tanvi and viewers. It comes down to blame game. That's where. But the truth is, no one cares. The truth is, organized corruption are killing people every day, and these people think that because it is poorer, more marginalized people, that they can order a probe and be done with it. But that's not how to run a city. That's not how to run a state or even a country. We need to tell that story tonight, Tanvi, and that's exactly what we're going to do.